I think one of the things we've seen is that it's sort of a crawl, walk, run kind of a process. And I know we've got 3 offerings where entry point 1, 2, and 3, we like to call them. Can you talk about those entry points and what they mean and how the services will be different within those?
When we talk about the entry points, we'll label them, I'll label them a little bit differently. So the entry point 1 is pretty much administrative services, where we can manage the treasury function, manage the milestone and deliverables based approvals and so on. You're just managing at the very tactical end of the process. The next step before that, at what we call entry point 2, is at the contracting stage. And that's where you can drive a significant amount of value as you identify contract terms and conditions, and you can map that against your corporate rules, against your strategic sourcing objectives and so on. And so you can make sure that there's an alignment there between the two, and then you can drive compliance and mitigate risk. Going back to entry point 3 then, that's at the sourcing part of the spectrum. So you go from sourcing to contracting to administrative function. And at sourcing, that's where you can define a lot of strategic benefit by making sure that, one, you're vetting the suppliers and you understand exactly the quality of the suppliers and the value they bring. You can actually competitively bid the SOWs as well. Depending on the company, you can have as much as 50% of the SOWs are actually contingent labor in disguise. And so you're essentially paying a lot more for those SOWs than you would if you just had sent them out to a contingent labor supplier. And the second piece is that there's an overwhelming majority that are sole sourced. And so for that reason, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. You're by not competitively bidding these SOWs. And so we can provide services at any one of those entry points. And it doesn't have to be for the entire program either. It can be kind of an a la carte menu. So you can choose, well, this category of SOW, I just want admin function. For these categories here, I could really use sourcing support and so on.
And what have you found so far in our implementations around contracts? Are they fairly standard with clients, or do they write some on the supplier's paper, some on their own? How does that work?
You know, I think that depending on the client, many times you'll find that there is no such thing as an SOW standard contract. They tend to be written on a mixture of paper, and it may not even be tracked. We've seen instances where clients literally have them in a desk drawer. They're not even centrally located anywhere. So there's centralization is a big piece of that. It's that terms and conditions, again, having that alignment with whatever terms and conditions are in the SOW contract. They need to be the company's terms and conditions too. There needs to be an alignment there.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about VMS support for the props function, without talking about the pros and cons of the various technologies out there. Is this something that is well supported even in the current functionality today?
It is. I think many of the major VMSs, they have very strong SOW functionality. But now with our props offering, we are moving in a slightly different direction and at a different pace than our competitors. So we're actually bringing things to market to help our clients with that may not be entirely in the VMS today, but they certainly will be in the near future.
Geographically, any boundary constraints? Is this a global offering that could be supported if we've got clients that are interested in EMEA or in other parts of the world?
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, that's a real benefit here, because now if you're a large organization with geographically dispersed business units, now you can start to assess not just what type of work you want to outsource, but where you want to outsource it to.